I said, this just takes ages. Like, let's just leave it because it was late and I wanted to do a session for her. But that was taking a while. And then what happens is, and then we started talking. There was a word that I picked up from the letter chart. We started talking and I said, that word is the answer to your question. And so we connected that. That word came up before she asked the question. It was really interesting.
Yeah, once you learn how to read the letter chart, a lot of things come through in a metaphor. A lot of things are, you have to realize that the word that it's spelling out, you may think it's this word and go to that word, but it's actually another word that starts with the same few letters. It is very much getting in tune with it and knowing how it's speaking to you. And that's the key, is just getting comfortable with it. Keep doing it day after day after day, and get that connection with source. And you know what, you can ask questions as to how to improve communication with the letter chart and source. What do I need to clear out of my body, etc. There's a lot of different ways to do it. Ingrid, my darling, from Finland. We got the whole world over here today. We got New Zealand, we got Finland, we got the UK, we got Massachusetts. Many people. Okay, we're gonna give it a few minutes and see who else shows up. Waiting for Ty and Nora. They're always here.
Yeah, Ty. I spoke to him once.
Ty guy. Ty.
Hello, everybody.
Ingrid, my darling.
Hello from rainy UK. It's been raining here, pouring the whole weekend.
We got, it just stopped snowing. We got snow.
Snow. They were gritting the roads yesterday, so we will have snow soon.
And Barbara's iPad is here from Vancouver, from the island, from the Great Island. Yeah, a lot of stuff going in the world right now to pay attention to. Australia's burning, California's burning. There's Ty and Nora. Angelina from California. Angelina's a new person into TQH. There you are, my darling. I need to come see you. I need a haircut. Unmute yourself, dear.
There we are.
Mr. Ty, everybody's jumping in now.
Hi, Ty. It's Alicia here from London, UK.
Hello again.
How is your organites?
It's really good this year.
It's a good crop. It's a good crop of organite this year. Yes, indeed.
It's a very good crop.
Good crop.
We rocked it this year.
Yeah. So both Ty and Alicia, Ty and Nora and Alicia, they make their own organite, and it's beautiful pieces that they make.
Ty gave me, once I spoke to Ty, and he gave me such a key piece of part of my work that I needed to know, the wire that you use. And since then, I'm using that kind of copper wire, and it's amazing. So I thank you, Ty. You know, there's always this codes we pick up from listening people, and then they kind of puzzles to your puzzle, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about true quantum healing, is that we are a community. Okay, and that's what from day one, I always wanted to be working together, making a grid network to get through some things, to tap into that grid network, to share the knowledge, share the information, share the findings. Everybody here, no matter how new you are to TQH, is very important to the whole outcome of what we're trying to achieve here, and that's, defeating the dark side. And that's we're going to definitely touch on a lot of concept of the dark side and what it really is, and how it's affecting us, and how to beat it. Okay, it's very important.
Can I ask you a
Actually,
question?
Star Wars.
We're going to talk about Star Wars, Mr. Fabish.
Can we talk about the ether as well, Chris? Can you explain as well what the ether is?
Well, the ether in Latin means air. Okay. The ether is air, sending it out to the ether, and then from there, source takes whatever. I don't know. I'm always told, send it to ether, So that's what we do, is send it to ether. The understanding of everything going on here is one thing. Everybody's got a different opinion on what it's all about. Some people send things to a fire and burn it. I mean, there's so many different ways to do the clearing. I just simply send it to ether. Ether means air. There's all the elements that are involved with things. And there's so many different concepts and ways to work with this that you can never do it all at once. It's very much.
Sorry.
Yes, go ahead, Ingrid.
I may have a little piece of information to say about ether. It's one point of view, as I have understood, is that ether is this kind of ever-spreading space. So whatever you are sending it there, the room is so immense there where it's spreading, so that it has no risk that it finds the way back, because it's so immense and it's spreading all the time. It's kind of like air and at the same time space.
More like a void within the air.
Yes, void, yeah.
Void. The spaces between the cells and molecules could be described as an ether.
I also I have exactly the same understanding of the ether, plus that the ether is governed by so many like laws that they're not like everything that is created, that is part of the creation, has its space there. Like they know their place. That's how I say it.
Well, and yes, and there's a lot of things that are breaking those laws.
So why don't we send it to source then for transmutation?
Well, I mean that is certainly is a possibility. Now, when I find a soul within somebody, I send that soul to source. If it's something of a nasty nature, I banish it to ether. Get out of here. Go to ether. Leave us alone.
Yeah. I do the same. That the souls are of people who have been.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Because
they
there's so many trapped souls. Yeah.
Yes, then to the souls. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna give this a couple more minutes. Just make sure that everybody's gonna be here. Is gonna be here. Oh. Miss Christian, oh my goodness, I miss you, my friend. Christian is in Croatia.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so we got the whole world here today. Croatia, New Zealand, UK. Maria is in Netherlands, I believe. Ingrid is in Finland. So Maria and Ingrid are very close together. Nicola was from Ireland. Now, what's interesting is when I speak with Ingrid, we've been working quite a bit together. Ingrid, you sound like you have an Irish accent almost.
Oh, thank you. I'm Estonian, actually. But
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the really interesting thing about my journey with this is meeting all these different people all over the world. I never thought that it would come to this where we're working with one day I'm in Australia, the next day I'm in Ireland, the next day I'm in Winnipeg. It's like we're going all over the place, and all of the different accents and different terminologies are definitely an interesting waking of what's going on.
But Chris, you are welcome to visit us as well.
Chris wants to do lots of visiting. Chris wants to do a lot of visiting.
Not just, well, you can bilocate. Can you do bilocation? You don't need the airport.
If I could, I would.
Next year.
Maybe next year.
Next year's around the corner.
Next year's around the corner. Yeah, it is around the corner.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Okay, we'll give it 1-2 more minutes. Now Bridie. Bridie is in Nottingham, England. I've been doing a lot of work in Nottingham, England. There seems to be some vortexes there that enable healings to happen, things to change really quickly.
Really? I'm gonna go there.
Yeah. You've done amazing work for us all here, Chris.
Well, we're certainly doing the best we can. There is a group of people in Nottingham who do need some help, and we're getting them out of that quagmire. And Bridie's a big part of that. Bridie's sharing a lot of information, enabling us to go more and get deeper into the problem and figure it out.
Yeah, you've been very, very helpful for us.
So Bridie, if I come to Nottingham, can I contact you?
Yeah, of course you can. That'd be great. Can anybody hear me? Can you hear me?
We can hear you, yes.
Can anybody?
Yep.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. You're welcome anytime, Alicia.
I just drove to Birmingham last night, just like that, for 2 hours, and now I'm stuck in an welcome
Yeah.
this rain.
Oh, Birmingham's not far from Nottingham.
Oh,
So
yeah.
maybe I should have continued my weekend to Nottingham.
Okay, so looks like that's everybody who's going to be here. We're 10 after the hour now, and you know how I do things. Everything is right smack dab on the hour, but we're going to, if anybody else joins in, then that's the thing. Who's making all the noise?
Christian, can you mute?
Yeah, so everybody, if you can just mute your mic, and if you want to say something, just unmute, and then you can chime in and say something.
You can actually mute them if they're. You can mute everyone, Chris, if you go to manage participants down the bottom.
I'm learning how to do this thing. So Christian, sorry, I just muted you. I think you can unmute yourself also if you want to say something. So let's get started. First off, I want to welcome Angelina, everybody who's new within True Quantum Healing. It's beautiful to have you aboard and part of the group, because this is a very important thing that we're doing to raise the vibration of humanity, raise the vibration of the planet, raise consciousness as to what's really going on out there, and how to help people with their issues, no matter what they may be. And we've been helping with a lot of different issues: emotional, mental, psychological, physical, spiritual. There's so many different issues that so many different people are facing on a daily basis, and to be able to look at everything, not just specific things, is definitely a blessing that we can do that, and dig down and get into the problem. And I've had a lot of people part of TQH who have been helping a lot. Mr. Fabish is doing amazing work. Ty and Nora in California have been sharing a lot of wonderful information. And everybody, Nicola, I mean, we've got people who have quit their full-time jobs who are now doing this as their full-time work, and being successful with it. So to that, I thank everybody for being part of this and for continuing with it. There's many people who started True Quantum Healing and just kind of pushed it aside. It's like, I'm not feeling it, it's not working, and that's perfectly fine. But the people who are really pursuing it, doing it on a daily basis, are the ones who are benefiting from it. It's like these drums back here. They don't play themselves. Okay, it takes time to really learn the nuances. Anybody can get behind a set of drums and start banging away, but when you learn about why you're a drummer, it's all about timing. You're keeping the band in time, and that's what we're doing here. Is we're keeping everything in time, everything in sync with our knowledge, with our information, and sharing it. So that for that, I also thank you. Now let's now there's been a lot of things happening within the work that we're doing here, and it's fast and furious. Every day is something different and new. Some things come and then they're gone. They don't really work. We try a few things out. Source brings me this, try this out. That's not working. Push it aside and bring something new in. But what I watch for is things that are very consistent. And then I watch for the changes we get within a person when we work with them, what kind of results we get. And the one basic thing that has been very consistent is the concept of hell. Okay. We have been calling things certain names. In the beginning, we were calling it Klepoth, which is a Gothic form of the underworld. We've called it the underworld. But as of late, in the last couple, 3 weeks, the term Azazel has been very fruitful. So with working with this modality and working with source and all of the concept of the universe, if you can identify something exactly what it is, you're going to have a better result. So ultimately, if you're playing hide and seek, 1, 2, 3 on Chris, but it's really Alicia, Alicia's not caught. So if you can identify that energy, you're going to be doing much more impact on things. So now what?
Chris,
Yeah.
sorry, Chris. How do you spell that Azazel or
Azael.
Azael?
Azazel. A lot of people will call it Azazel. I was corrected by, I have a few clients who are very Jewish, but they're, they know all about the terminology, and they said, no, call it Azazel. And Azazel in Hebrew means hell. So there's a lot of stories about it and different concepts. But if we use that terminology, so what I do is I use the terminology underworld and Azazel, just to make sure we cover everything. So using that tends to identify it more. So now what? Another big thing we've been finding, and this is all to do with Azazel and the underworld, and this I think is a very significant clearing, is to remove anybody's value and worth within Azazel. The value and worth of the soul in Azazel. So all of a sudden you have no worth in Azazel, they don't want you anymore. So if you make that intent, the value and worth of this person's soul in Azazel, false. Simple as that. And then you can reword it. The value and worth of this person's soul in Azazel, false. Find different ways to word it. If you can find 2 different ways to word it, that might get you in further. But ultimately, easy. The value and worth of this person's soul in Azazel, false. And then once you've done that, you can start going further into Azazel. So what we've been doing is just using the master chart and asking what area of this person is within Azazel. So for a lot of people, if you have, let's say, a heart issue, your heart may be in Azazel. So anything chronic within the person. So you can go 2 different ways with this. You can remove the physical heart and the template of the heart. Everything has a template. Our DNA, RNA has a template. Everything has a template. So when you take something out of Azazel, so this person's heart in Azazel, false, you want to use the word unlock. The word unlock, and it is within the command charts, to unlock something. And that has been very, very a big thing is to unlock. So unlock this person's heart from Azazel and remove it from Azazel. So now you've taken the heart out of Azazel. Now you've got the heart sitting there. What do you do with it now? You want to remove all of the overlays, all Azazel and underworld overlays off of the heart. You don't have to go any further than that. You can if you want, depending on how deep you want to go with this. But if you take that off the overlays, all Azazel and underworld overlays on the heart, false. Also do the heart template, all overlays, false. And then you want to quantum jump this into the timeline of source. And we're going to get into timelines briefly as to what that really means. But if you quantum jump it, now this heart is in the timeline of source. And then you want to say the words, this person's heart, true, source, true. So it's in the timeline of source. Now you're connecting it to source. You're making it source true. And then you want to fill the heart with a vortex of love. All right, so this person's heart, I use the words vortex of pure source love true. Strongest language you can find, just use something that works for you. So now this person's heart is full of love, it's connected to source, it's out of the dark areas, and you can now start clearing other things out of the heart. So there you might find whatever you find in the stressor charts is what you start clearing out until you've done the full clearing. So this goes with any area of the body, physical, spiritual, energy, whatever you can find that is within Azazel, you want to remove that and do this clearing. Okay, this is a very, very fruitful clearing, to say the least. Now, somebody mentioned about Star Wars. So we want to try to simplify exactly what's going on here with Azazel in the underworld, and people like us, the light workers, the people of source, the people of who are woke. So basically, you have the dark side, and you have the light side. We're fighting a war, kids. Okay, we're definitely in this. We're in the trenches, and we're fighting a war against the dark side. That's the best way to explain it. That's when somebody asks how this works. That's the analogy I use. This is Star Wars. The dark side, the light side, we are all Jedi. Okay? Use the Force, Luke. That's what we're doing. The Force is source. The Force is also ruthenium. So now we're going to we're looking into the whole Walter Russell table of elements. If you look at the table of elements, the periodic table of elements, there's so many elements involved. If you do some research on a gentleman named Walter Russell, this person takes it a lot further into the concept of what the universe is, what the energy is, what we're made of, etc. And the interesting thing about ruthenium is I was guided very, very specifically to work with this element. The story goes is I kept on getting the word Soviet. Using the letter chart, I kept on getting the word Soviet. I'm like, Soviet what? Soviet spies, Soviet satellites. What do you mean Soviet? And then I kept on getting that. So then I researched this element ruthenium. The word ruthenium came to me on the element charts that I have. And then I researched that word, and the word ruthenia is Latin for Russia. So put the two together. Okay, so source is trying to tell us in this way, and this is not just trickery or let's play a game with this guy. This is confirming that this is where we want to be, is working with this energy. So to me, that is very significant. When you get these types of breadcrumbs that lead you to something, you pay attention to it. So now my mentor, Wayne, who makes all the wonderful tools in Alberta, Canada, I shared this with him. He says, Chris, you found it. Ruthenium in the universe is the doer. Source is the knowledge and love. Truth, honesty, knowledge, and love. If I want something to happen, I will ask ruthenium to do it. Okay? Now Ty has been making a lot of organite and putting the energy of ruthenium within it. And he's actually bought ruthenium off the internet, very small amounts, and putting it within his organite, and it's making some significant changes now, isn't it, Ty?
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
So if you take that concept to like you can ask Source to do it, sure, but Source will probably just get ruthenium to do it anyway. So if you make that intent to use ruthenium to make those changes, it's a lot more efficient. So you give it a try. You can place a vortex of ruthenium around the person's heart. Use that ruthenium to make the changes in the heart. Okay, that's very significant. We've been doing that. But ultimately, it's just intended now that ruthenium is within all the clearings. So let's get back to the underworld and Azazel. So basically, again, there's two types of people here. There's us light workers, there's the Jedi, and then there's the satanic people. Aleister Crowley was one of the biggest Satanists on the planet, and of course there's many others. And there's a lot of these people that are in high-profile jobs: lawyers, judges, in the military, in politics, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Jeffrey Epstein, the Clintons, all these people are working for this dark side, are working for Azazel, because just as we know there's energy that we can use to manifest things and change things, they can do the same by using the energy of Azazel to make changes for the bad. We make changes for the good. So that's, in a nutshell, that's what's really happening here, is we're trying to shut down Azazel so that they don't have that energy to feed off of anymore, okay? On the grand scale, bigger picture, my mentor Wayne, that's what he's doing. That's his job, is to shut down the grids of Azazel, clear them out and shut them down. So now the question comes up, who is Satan? Who's the big guy in Azazel? We're going to say more so the big guys in Azazel. The Egyptian gods, the creator gods, Thoth, Set, Horus. These are the three biggies. Okay, so I'm getting some download here. So you've got these three guys who are the culprits. These are the guys who want bad things to happen. They want control of our soul. Once our souls are very powerful, our souls have a lot of potential to be used as a weapon, as knowledge, as a poker chip. Many different scenarios can be said with this. So if they can control our soul and stop us from ascending, cause bad things to happen to you to lower your vibration, that's what they're trying to do, is they're trying to stop ascension. Ascension is such a big thing in the universe right now. There's a lot of these dark beings who have been instituted to come forward. The reptilians, the ET, there's so many of these entities, these energy entities that have been hired, let's say, to come in and lower the vibration of humanity. Okay. I work with many people who try to do things to better their lives. What happens? They get worse. As if to say, stop doing that and you'll feel better. And this is the dark side, who has a very strong hold on these people to lower their vibration. So if you look at many people with chronic illnesses that just have no explanation, the explanation is to lower their vibration, because this person could have some kind of information, some kind of past knowledge to pass forward into source and into humanity, etc. And I do find many people have this type of energy. So now I want to go back a second and talk about those three entities I talked about: Set, Horus, Thoth. Three. We got three. Now within source is three. Okay, the concept of source is made up of three different universes. And I actually found within my clientele, there's three people who are carrying that energy, and they are very, very much being pressed upon to hold them down. And we've been clearing, and getting to the crux of what this all is within them. And we're finding a lot of commonalities between the three sisters that is very much an aha moment. So the number three in Azazel, very important. The number three in source. And what do you have here, simplicity wise, is polarity. Okay, I always say everything is polarity. There's a good and bad, there's a left and right, there's an up and down. Duality is polarity. Everything boils down to a polarity in certain ways. So if you can get that concept, there's good and bad, up and down, left and right, higher, lower self, higher self, everything is polarity. So if you can, grasp that concept, it'll help to take you into different ways. So what we're trying to do here is to spark something within you to go, aha, I think I know where I need to go next. I think I know how to deal with this problem now. All right. So the concept of duality, there's no just one explanation for it. There's many different explanations of what duality really is. Ty, do you have anything that you want to comment on that about? You're muted.
Nope, keep going.
No, we're not missing anything. We're hitting it right on the head.
Yep.
Okay, so that concept itself will really take you a lot further. So now let's touch on the template. So within the soul the entire soul conglomeration of souls. There's many different souls. There's our soul. There is the love soul. And one big thing that I've been working with is the template soul, which is our soul is like a settings area of our body. So if you address the template soul and how it's being affected by the dark side, and bring that out of Azazel, you can now make settings. You can change settings in that template soul. That has been very, very helpful. Simple as that. Just work on the template soul. So put that in your charts, template soul, or even just template. So yeah, I'm reading off a list here that I've been jotting down like all week long to prepare for this. Now we're going to talk about quantum jumping. Within TQH, we have a practitioner slash student slash colleague of mine. Her name is Shauki. She's from Germany. She lives in LA. This person has the ability to quantum jump out of harm's way. All right, and this came forward in a few different ways. First of all, let's jump back about three or 4 years ago. Her mother, who lives in Germany, was on her deathbed, riddled with cancer. They had arranged for the crematorium. They have done last rites, all this stuff. And she calls me and says, "Chris, can we please do a session with my mom?" I says, "Okay, no pressure. Let's do a session." The next day, she got out of bed and walked out of the hospital. Okay, so right away you think, oh, a miracle healing happened. What I realized with looking into quantum jumping and within Shauki, her ability to do this, is that we quantum jumped timelines with her mother. Okay, we took her out of a death timeline and placed her within a source timeline. Not intending to do that, not at the time knowing about this concept of doing it, but it happened. We worked through Shauki because she has this ability, let's call it, to quantum jump. We were able to bring her mother into safety, into a better life. So her mother now lives in a care home, and of course wasn't completely 100%. So we did a session with her, I think a week ago or 2 weeks ago. And again, all of a sudden, we brought it to a new level. All of a sudden, she's getting up and cleaning the room and making meals. And the staff is like, what's going on here? So that to me, just like finding the ruthenium concept is showing us that quantum jumping into timelines is a doable possibility. So we've been paying more attention to that. Again, quantum jumping the heart into the timeline of source is all revolving around that quantum jumping concept. So with Shauki, she was explaining to me, her and her family are driving down the 6-lane highway in LA, and all of a sudden there's a big car crash in front of her. All of a sudden they're on the other side of the car crash. It's like, what just happened here? And this is a personal experience. So to me, this is something we need to pay attention to and wait for it to come in certain ways. So Source said, okay, here's a philosophy I want you to put in your subconscious, and we're going to be dealing with this later on. So that has been very, very interesting, to say the least. And I work with Shauki a few times a week trying to make changes, and it's definitely a haul. It's a big haul, and we're making some changes hopefully, but learning more about the whole concept of this. Let's see what else. Oh, we found an entity. My goodness. A couple weeks ago, I was working with Miguel and Miguel's sister. Miguel is part of TQH. He's in North Carolina. They're from Mexico. And we found an entity within his sister. And the name of this entity is Odu. O-D-U. And I know, Ty, you're saying, oh, there's those 3 letters again. Right? Everything seems to be 3 letters. So, but what happened is we did a session once by removing this Odu character. Now, what was interesting is that 99.999% of the time I use this. Okay, this is my go-to. But in the charts, in the to-do charts, it said to use a different tool. That really never comes up. So I was okay, we need to use a different tool, and it said to use a sun ring. So I pulled out the sun ring and used this to remove Odoo from this person. And right away, she went into an exorcism type clearing. And it was like, wow, okay. And you know, we're listening along, and Miguel was with her and trying to talk her down and trying to, you know, smooth things out. This person was uttering in tongues, eyes rolling back in the head, the whole bit. So we got through that, finished the clearing, and a few days later, we did another clearing, and the focus was a pain in her knee. Okay, just a random pain in the knee. Moved out a bunch of different energies, and Odoo came up again. As soon as I intended to remove this entity, again went into an exorcism type clearing. So that to me says, pay attention to this. So right away, I call up Wayne, and Wayne was waiting on the phone for me to call him. He says, yeah, there you are. What do we need to do? I says, we need to look into this entity named Odoo. So Wayne found it, and he says, this is just a volatile, pissed off entity. It's a rogue entity. It's not a faction of ET or Archons or reptilians, anything like that. This was a rogue entity wanting to take control of Azazel, because of course we cleared out Azazel of any controllers. So that in itself told me something. We need to pay attention to this and make sure that that this thing is taken care of. So now we dissolved Odoo. So what that means is that we can now go into individual people and remove the vortex of this entity, so that it doesn't have any control or effect on people anymore, and there won't be any exorcism type clearings happening. I've probably seen about 5 different exorcism type clearings since I started doing this a dozen some years ago, and they come upon just like that. You don't expect it, you don't know it, and it's like, what do I do? If this ever happens to you, just stay with it. Just don't panic. Stay with it. Keep clearing. Keep adding love. Vortexes of love. Vortexes of source. Just keep with it. Don't let it rattle you, because that's what it wants you to do. Some people say, "Oh, we're done. I can't help you with this." If you stay with it and you put your heart and your soul into it, you're definitely going to help this person. Okay, and that's why this person is contacting you, so you can help them. And you can do it. You just have to know that in your heart, in your soul, that it can be done. The first time it happened, I freaked out. It's like, okay, let's hunker down. I put the seatbelt on. Let's go. Let's battle this son of a bitch. And we won. It was definitely an interesting clearing, okay, to say the least. Now let's go back to the creator God scenario. Now I have a client. I forget where he's in the States somewhere. He has a lot of memories of his lifetime in ancient Egypt. Okay, he gives me a lot of pointers. You know, look for this, look for that. But he keeps on asking me, Chris, when are you going to find Set? S-E-T-H. I says, it hasn't come forward yet. Well, last week, Set started coming forward. And it's more so the revenge of Seth is a very, very big thing to watch for. He's pissed off. You're taking away all my power. I'm gonna put revenge on you. And this goes back thousands and thousands of years that this started, with all the problems in humanity, the wars, any type of religious things. This all has to do with revenge of Seth. So if you can put that in your charts, and not just remove Seth or the vortex of Seth, but the revenge. You want to ask Ruthenium to please stop the revenge of Seth. This has been very, very helpful, to ask Ruthenium to stop something. Not just revenge of Seth false, but to stop the revenge of Seth. This has been very interesting. Ty, what do you know about Seth?
I'm just familiar with Set, really. So Set is a serpent. It's a Vatican god. It is an Egyptian god. It is a deity worshipped by the U.S. military. It could go on.
So these creator gods, they do have a past, and they take many forms as time goes on. So if Seth, whatever you want to call it, is an influence on humanity, there's somebody on this planet who carries that energy. There has to be a grounding to Earth and humanity for that energy to take hold, for it to make a possibility. So if you look at Aleister Crowley, he carried a lot of those energies. Okay, he grounded those energies into the planet so that he could use that to influence humanity in many ways. So we have been finding certain people that carry certain energies, and by dissolving them, all of a sudden we go to new levels. Let's call it a big veil, to say the least, of what to remove and to get to the next level, and that's been very, very helpful. What else? Hold on. Let's douse for a second. Okay, what information do we need to share with all the lovely, wonderful, beautiful people within TQH? Okay, the worst problem of. Okay, not. Okay, hold on. Not Seth, but worst problem of. Cyborg. Okay, so cyborg, we're getting cyborg and archons. Wow, tingles. So there we just found something new to look for, and that's archons, cyborgs. Now I had sent an email out a while, I think it was last week, a week before, about the archons are stitched within the fabric of time. Thinking, let's put this out there and see if we get any feedback. Well, nobody fed back, and that's okay. But to me, that was something we need to pay attention to. So now, and Alicia asked a question: are we going to be able to find what's next? And you can't really just do that. It has to come to you. You can't go to it, otherwise you're in trouble. So we always wait for it to come to us. So the next thing to look for is cyborg, archon types of energy. Okay. Interesting. Mr. Fabish, you've been very quiet. Do you have anything you want to share with us?
What I want to. I've been looking at the whole aspect of consciousness being anchored into this reality. So, I guess, just like us, there is a consciousness aspect, and everything within this reality is bound to a consciousness. So, I've been looking at, just like we have tools and geometry and tensor rings and stuff like that, that are physical anchors to facilitate an energy into this reality from, another reality or another dimension. I've been really looking at going to the source of where all these consciousnesses are coming from. So that's been a really big concept, is seeing how they're anchoring their energy in this reality and within us. So I've been having a look at the concept of us kind of being used as a vessel, and I guess we all can understand like the idea of us being used as a battery source of energy, and kind of looking at a bit like, funnily enough, a bit like some of these consciousness and beings using us as a bit, they're like shareholders in regards to our energy. And the term a backup keeps coming up, which is like a storage of energy. And finding that, going onto the master chart and finding whereabouts within you have backups, storage of energy that is your energy, but you can't use or facilitate that energy because some other consciousness or entity has that control over you or has that energy. So what you do is you just clear out, look for any backups or storage of energy of an entity or consciousness. You just make the intent to remove that, and then you just restore that connection back to source or ascension true. And all of a sudden, say for example, your liver, 70% of that energy that's there for your liver is energy you can't tap into because some other consciousness has got that. So all of a sudden you remove that out, then you just reestablish the connection to source, and all of a sudden you've got full 100% capabilities of energy to then heal the liver. So that's been quite a big concept I've been using of late.
Interesting. And yeah, that resonates. That's interesting, my friend. Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
Chris has in New Zealand has been getting some really interesting results. He shares a lot of testimonials on Facebook, and I've been watching you, my friend. I've been watching you.
All right.
You're really going to some different places. And again, the concept of true quantum healing is this person has this knowledge, that person has this knowledge, and results and findings. And to share that with the community is huge. Everybody has a listing of everybody's emails. When I welcome somebody into TQH, we send out a blanket email, and you have access to those emails. So if you wanted to contact somebody and say, hey, let's do sessions, let's trade sessions, and let's practice. You have the ability to do that. You can send out a blanket email to everybody and ask, I'm running into this problem. Does anybody have any kind of insight that you'd like to share with me about this type of problem? And that way we stay a community and we can share the information. There's no secrets here, okay? Everything is of source. Everything is to be shared, and we can definitely further ourselves. Now,
Awesome.
Go ahead, Chris.
No, thanks for those words, Chris. Yeah, and I guess we all have a piece of the puzzle, and one thing that also come to find is we all have, and this is what I talk to my clients about, is we're all individuals as well, and we're all got different a perspective or perception on something. We might be all talking about the same thing, but we have slight little differences and slight maybe different words that we use, but we're all on the same page, and we're all pieces of the puzzle that can all come together and heal humanity.
Well, that's exactly it. And one of my biggest questions I ever had when I started doing this is, how come everything's so different? How come there's no flow of energy? Everything, somebody says this, somebody says that, and we are all individuals. We're not a collective. Okay, no. Reptilians are a collective. All right, you don't want to have that collective hive mentality. You want to be working with your own consciousness. Now, I might be from this area of the universe, Chris might be from that area, and we're all drawing from different consciousness, different past memories, etc., etc. Whatever it is, we all have our own little way of doing things. Ty does things differently than I do. Chris does things differently. Nicola, we all do things a little differently, but ultimately, if I do A and Nicola does Z to make a clearing, as long as we get the clearing, that's all that's important. So the information in the charts will guide you to that type of clearing. The pre-clearing that we do with removing things from Azazel, taking off the overlay, giving it to source, I call this the answer me these questions 3 and you shall pass, okay? You have to do that pre-clearing in order to, and take that area out of the dark energy in order to fix it, in order to make it source true, in order to heal the person. So everybody may have a different type of pre-clearing, what needs to be done in order to work on this person, lift the veils. I mean, there's so many different ways of doing it. And ultimately, if you can take the information here and apply it to your own way of doing things. When I talk with Wayne, he gives me this big amount of information. He's very much like an Ashiana Dean and a Yellow Rose of Texas with the metaphors and the terminology. And I'm like, thanks, Wayne. And then we just let it settle and pick things out of that we can use. Because ultimately, we need to make this simple. It doesn't have to be really difficult. Okay, the big terminologies, the particles of this Partiki grid don't need to be in line with that concept of the universe and this dimension of many templates. Okay, if you want to go there, go there, but it's very involved. When Wayne does a clearing, it takes days to do a clearing. We do a clearing here in 45 minutes, okay, with clients. So, Angeline, you want to say something? Oh, okay, I thought you put your hand up. It's all good. It's all good. So that, in a nutshell, is the basic concept of what we're trying to accomplish here. Now, anybody else want to comment or share some information?
Chris,
Yes.
Friday. I've been doing a lot of work on the Imperial Soul. It keeps coming up all the time.
Imperial Soul?
Imperial Soul. Imperial. And
okay.
It was the first time it came up. It went on for an hour and a half, and it was rejected clearings, rejected clearings, rejected clearings. And then I thought maybe my pendulum had gone into a loop or something, and I was getting a bit concerned. And then suddenly, after about two dozen clearings, it went to the letter chart, guided me to the letter chart, and said, now an important healing. Now, it said. And I went back, rejected clearings, and on all of us, because it happened to 4 of us, the last important healing on all of us was holographic insert in the Imperial Soul. And that ended it.
Let me comment. You just sparked something, my dear. Holy mackerel! This is huge. Now, way back, I was working with a gentleman in Scotland. His name is Duncan. You may have heard podcasts and about working with this person. He was stiff as a board. He was paralyzed, and this is from vaccinations, but more so the energies that came in with it. And he shared something with me. He said, "Chris, I had a dream in between awake and asleep." And he said, an entity came over me and said, "I want your Imperious Soul." And I kind of forgot about that, but Bridie, you just restarted that, the Imperious Soul.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
I had trouble hearing what Bridie said. Can you please repeat it, Chris? Because it seems that I can hear your microphone
Okay.
better.
So basically, what Bridie brought forward is the clearing of the Imperious Soul. Okay, everybody put that in your charts. All these different souls, love soul, soul template, Imperious Soul is going in the charts. Okay, I think that's a big one. Bridie, I love you.
Thank you.
Okay, I got tingles all over my body. Ty, what did you feel when you heard that?
Just listen. Sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds like definitely a way to go.
She came up with a good solution when she got stuck on something and went through it and found a good solution. Awesome.
Yeah, to say the least. So
I work with a lot of versions of the soul. So I have a list of souls. So depending on what it douses, Imperious souls, lower souls, that sort of thing. So resonates highly.
Yeah, absolutely. And then of course, as we get into doing TQH, the common thing seems to be finding something new. So what we found, Odu, Bridie, the Imperious Soul. I mean, all these different concepts of us that have been covered over time by the dark side are starting to come up. We're digging away at the underworld to get to these different levels. So if you can come up with something new, put it within the charts. If it never comes up, it's just a waste of paper. It's no big deal. So if you can start working with things and make it very what's the word I'm looking for? If it comes up a lot for people, for me, the underworld, Azazel, all of the creator gods, if you can have something consistent and work with it, then you're in a good direction. I've been giving, yes?
Right, where in the chart should we put Azazel?
Oh,
We
just
put it in the
find
principality
an empty space in the stressor charts and just place Azazel
in
Underworld.
the stresses.
The new charts are
Okay.
going to have it. I've been working on those like crazy.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, we're going to be sending those out hopefully in the next couple of weeks. I know I've said that before, but there's so many new things coming in that I want to make sure all that information is in there.
Yeah.
So if you do find something, just find an empty spot in your charts and write it in. I mean, my charts are just full of chicken scratch, all these new things and different things that come up. And if they don't come up again, it's a waste of paper. Another big thing that has been very important is Wi-Fi. A lot of people are talking about 5G. Absolutely a problem. But if you identify it as Wi-Fi, and not so much just Wi-Fi, but Wi-Fi from the South Pole has been very big. People with random pains all over their body, you disconnect them from the Wi-Fi, and the Wi-Fi of the South Pole seems to be working very well, coming up quite a bit. In the charts, there's options like Gwen Towers, direct energy weapons. There's all these different versions of what it all is. But if you boil it down and just call it the Wi-Fi and remove the South Pole Wi-Fi for the person, you create a vortex of ruthenium to protect and block all the Wi-Fi signals from the South Pole from this person. Seems to make a significant change. So that is something to watch for. A lot of people are talking crazy about 5G. I think a lot of it, things that come up that are very big on social media and the internet, are a lot of things that are designed to confuse us. Look at Donald Trump. Okay, here's this idiot who's a president of the United States. How does that happen? So the big thing right now is impeachment. It's all you hear about. You're not hearing nothing anymore about Jeffrey Epstein and Prince Andrew, are you? I mean, that's just not news, because impeachment is taking priority. So it's distracting us from all that other stuff that the dark side and all of the big people amongst the dark side don't want us to know about. Everybody saw that news clip of the ABC News anchor who thought she wasn't on microphone and started talking about all of the findings they had 3 years ago. And it got squashed by the network, and she's like, "What's going on here?" So that's what's happening. That the dark side doesn't want us to know about certain things, so they create this fake thing that's going on to make us not pay attention to the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing. That's just a very tip of the iceberg with Jeffrey Epstein. My goodness, it's going to get much bigger. More things are going to come up about that. Now, okay, let's put that aside. I think we covered basically everything. I want to talk about this guy, the letter chart. Okay, now for the use of the letter chart is a very big component to getting the right answer, because ultimately when we're dowsing and we're not really confident with the answer, we call this doubt-sing. We need to take all doubt out of our dowsing capabilities. So the way I use a letter chart is I will first off use the master chart, go into the stressor chart, and then what I will do to confirm that, if the answer it doesn't seem to be right on, I will go to the letter chart and ask the question, what problem do I need to work on within this person? And then the letter chart will start spelling out the problem is within da 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 da. So it can very much confirm it. If there is an entity that's trying to block you from finding it, it will use certain charts to use to block you. But if you have a good enough connection with source, that the letter chart should come forward to either confirm that answer or to say, not this area, but this area. All right, so it could take you to different concepts of what is lying to you, what is blocking you from using certain charts in certain ways. Now, a lot of people, the biggest thing is, I'm not getting good answers with the letter chart. Either do I. It can be very, very convoluted in certain ways that you need to learn to understand how source is talking to you through the letter chart. It can use metaphors. it can guide you in certain ways with the breadcrumbs, is the same way I found the ruthenium concept with things. But a lot of people are afraid that it's a Ouija board. Well, it's not a Ouija board. It's a source board. Okay, if you can use this thing every day and get more of a connection, if you find that you're still not getting good answers, go in and ask what is blocking you from getting positive answers with the letter chart. And you might need to make some calibrations within your soul, calibrations in your consciousness, etc., etc. I know we worked with Nicola, with your sister in Ireland. She would take the pendulum and it would sit there. It wouldn't do anything. So we did some clearings. All of a sudden, the thing is going crazy. So there are things that can block you from getting answers in specific ways because they don't want you to know. All right, but it's your job to push through and get this thing to start talking. Well, the way I started using it, I'm watching Long Island Medium, and it's like, if this person can talk to spirits, why can't I talk to spirits with my letter chart? Okay, so I started talking to people I knew who had crossed, and one of them was my grandfather, my mother's father. And they come from the old country, very old, stout Mennonite type of philosophy on things. So I asked, my grandfather, Isaac Fair, I says, how are you? And it spelled out, my afterlife is going very fine, thank you. I says, okay, well, that was interesting. And then I got the message from him that I did not burn the house down. And I'm like, what? And then I remembered that there was 12 of them lived in a 2-room house in the country. And I remember seeing pictures of the house burning down. And everybody said, oh, that old cranky Isaac Fair, he burned the house down for the insurance money. So it was a confirmation in that way that this is really him. Nobody would know that except him and I. And I recollected, seeing the pictures. And that the conversation was, he burned it down for the insurance money. So that gave me confidence, knowing that the letter chart working through source is working. So the only best advice I can give you is don't let it frustrate you. If you're getting frustrated, put it away. Go have a coffee. Go meditate. Go have a bowl of soup. Go for a walk. Come back and restart it. Sometimes the question is wrong. You need to reword the question. So if you get an answer, try rewording the question in different ways and see if the answer is the same. That could give you some confirmation about the answer. But ultimately, it's the more you do it, just like the drums back here, the more I do it, the better I get. I got a new band, by the way. We are killer. Okay, I'm going to start sharing some music soon with people. We're doing some reggae stuff. We're doing some rock stuff. We're doing some jazzy funk stuff. It's a lot of fun. Anyways, so let's end it there. If anybody has, hold on. Let me go back to. I got this. I've got this. I've got this. All these. This is all stuff within the last 3 weeks or so that's come in to work with. Oh, here's a big one. Kundalini activation. Kundalini is a bad thing. We don't want a Kundalini activation. We want a source activation. So now that entity Odu that I found, very instrumental with the Kundalini. So you want to ask Ruthenium to stop Kundalini activation within this person. Okay.
Nice.
Does that resonate, guys?
Yep, it does.
Yes.
Kundalini is it's a long discussion, but it's not what people think it is.
Yeah, let's call it a reptilian trickery. Same as the chakra system. That chakra system kind of came up for a day or two, but then went back down again. The chakras are designed to lock us into this 3D. That's a control center for these characters. Let's see. Hold on. A lot of stuff came
Chris.
in. Yeah.
I agree with you with the chakra system. I find that people are talking about that energy centers, but I like to tell people that they may be energy centers, but they're not for us. That's for beings to feed off our energy. So I absolutely resonate with what you're saying about the chakra.
Yeah.
Chris, can I say something about
Yes,
the
yes,
chakras as well?
yes, please.
Both, Chris. Because last year in December, right after Christmas, I had a food poisoning. And then I stayed in bed for 3 days. And then, you know, Jose Farina, he did the session for me and he dowsed information. And he said the information came, disconnect chakra systems. And he said that week, most of his clients had the same information in a way regarding to chakra. So he disconnected me. He cleared and he disconnected. And then since then, everything went through a whole different shift. It was really, how do you say, not liberating, but it was a whole different perception. I didn't have to think of which chakra needs to clear. So there was less attention onto the chakra, so more attention to connecting to source. And do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I do think chakras is it's a tool of getting control and manipulated through that.
But let's call it an old school philosophy that we need to pay attention to the chakras, and it's a distraction. If you're working on the chakras, you're working on nothing. In certain ways. There are certain healers that insist you need to remove the chakra system. And I always go like, oh, I'm just going to leave it alone. I'm not going to go there and pull something out that we may need to work with. But it just never comes up. I just leave it alone.
Yeah.
Don't go there. If you want to remove the chakra system, are you really doing it? Yeah, there's a good chance. But if it doesn't come up, leave it alone.
But can you remove it? I know disconnection, it's possible.
I think if you're going to remove it, it has to be done in certain ways. Okay, you need to douse to see how to do it properly. If you do it the wrong way, it all comes down like a house of cards. Nothing happens. It's very important when you're going to focus on something, and you start at the beginning and end at the end. Don't jump into the middle and try and do something quickly. Always go one step at a time. Take away one veil, one layer at a time to get to the brass ring. All right, it's very important to do that. If you want some good results and confirming results, that's the way you do it. I always start off with what's the question, what problem within this person, instead of, what's causing this person's pain. Here's the pain, but you need to start here to get to the pain. Okay? Very, very important to follow the steps. Answer me these questions 3 and you shall pass. Anybody else? Comments, questions, anything at all?
I have found very useful to ask about the stressors behind the stress. About if I find, for example, the reason for a pain, then I quite often ask as well that is there any need to find the stressor behind this stressor? And it comes up quite often that it's needed. Sometimes it's not needed.
So you're going through the layers.
Yes.
Yeah. And again, that's very important. Simply go through the layers, because the dark side does not want us to find the problem. Okay, they put out the more chronic the problem is, the more layers there is. So if somebody has had ALS for 20 years, you better hunker down and get ready to do a lot of sessions on this person. It's going to take that long to get to it. So the right pre-clearing will remove a block of veils so you can get there faster. You know what I mean? All right. If anybody else has a comment, question, please feel free and ask. I am always here to help. All right. I want to be here to help. If you have any questions, there's no such thing as a stupid question. All right. And anything at all. I want anybody to feel free to send me an email, contact me, and I will help you through a clearing. Lynn is a new person. She's in Hawaii, and she had a question about doing a clearing. I says, try this. And she tried that. All of a sudden, her blood sugars went down 100 points. So I'm here to help. That's why you pay the big bucks, is so that we can work together to get to the common goal of raising the vibration of humanity. It's not about healing the person. It's about raising the vibration of the person so the body can heal itself, make the clearing so that the body can realize what's going on, and so it can heal itself. Go ahead, Angelina.
Will you have the list of souls in the new charts?
There will be some concept to that. I do have like a list that I made, but it took me away from that list and went somewhere else. So as soon as there's like real confirmation of what souls we're working with, Ty, do you want to share your list with people if they want a list?
It's scattered through I have an expanded aura energy chart, so I have to make a new one. I get sense of.
What I will do is I will come up with some predominant versions of the soul and send that forward. Because when we're not ready to work with that, you're not going to get any really confirming good answers with it. I asked what souls, and I got all these different concepts. I used to work with the soul of souls. That's no longer there. The quantum soul, ring of souls, bloodline soul, soul of wisdom, all these different types of souls. But the big one that comes up is the template soul. Another big one is divine feminine soul. That has kind of come up here and there.
Nice.
The love soul. So
Okay,
you can ask, douse it, see what you get. But I will certainly share with everybody as to what specific souls to work. The template soul is a big one. It's the more of the settings area of our physical body. So everything has a template. The heart has a template. The brain has a template. And if that is manipulated in certain ways, you can go into the template to change things, and that might open some doors. You ask certain questions, certain doors will open, and it's up to you, young Jedi, to go through those doors.
I would ask you to add to this soul lists once more the order, how to connect. I don't remember, you have talked about it, about the souls, how to connect them each other, like what needs to be connected to what. I don't remember very well. For example, which is important in the cases when people are depressed, then there was a certain order of connections. And if you could add this one, because I tried to find this older podcast, but I couldn't find.
Very often what I find with depression is a disconnect with the person and their soul. Okay, that's very influential. And then Angelina may be depressed for different reasons than Ingrid. So you need to find out what is causing this person's depression. And it could be a soul thing. Could be an Azazel thing. I mean, everybody is so different, but yeah, we need to come up with more of a working model on how to work with the soul. Number one is understanding exactly what the soul is all about. There's so many different concepts and different ways to think about the soul. Everybody thinks it's your personality. Well, it's more than just that. It's what makes us human. It's what separates us from the dark side and helps us to be manifestors and to be more independent of ourselves instead of depending on that creator God to bring you financial abundance. It's more so than that. So we're going to come up with some new ways to work with the soul. And again, it's all that comes to me. I don't go looking for it. It comes to me. When we're ready for that next step, that's what Source brings forward, is that next step. So what we just doused here is cyborg and archons. That it's in itself is another way to go.
Chris, I've been getting archons lately as well.
Yeah, and what I do find is consistent is that few people in TQH will start to come up with the same things at the right time. I was working black goo. So all of a sudden black goo starts coming up, and that black goo is a spell. It's using certain elements, 5th and 10th octave elements from the Walter Russell table is creating this spell. So when I called Wayne and started talking about this, he says, yep, we just cleaned out the black goo. So there's confirmation there that once Wayne clears something out, we can now take from that soup pot and eat from that soup pot. Once he clears it at the grid level, then it's open for us to go after. Okay, in the person. So that in itself, if it's not cleared at that level, we can't work with it. I like to use the analogy: we go hunting, and there's a deer behind that tree, but you can't shoot it, so the deer's not going to come out. So you got to move the tree. So he's removing the trees, the veils, the grounding of this energy so that we can shoot the deer. Not that we want to shoot deer, but it's an analogy.
Do you still use the words black goo, Chris, or do you call it something else? I know a couple of months ago you were using
it comes up in different ways. It doesn't come up a lot. So generally, the words black goo, I mean, that was created by somebody in the dark realm, the words black goo. Harold Kautzvala is very famous for talking about the black goo, but I always say they could have had a better name for it than black goo, okay? So it is a form of a spell. The dark side will use certain elements to create certain spells. So something you may want to pay attention to is the elements, the periodic table of elements, the Walter Russell. Now, Walter Russell stuff is a very deep rabbit hole. This guy was so genius in certain ways, and he goes back to the late 1800s of his work. If you want to, do research on Walter Russell, I certainly suggest you do so. It might open some doors. Okay. So let's, if anybody else has anything they want to share quickly, I think we should end it. I gotta take my kids skating.
I got one thing.
Sure.
So Nora and I made a true quantum healing course in system clearing. It's a recording. So if anybody's feeling stuck, they're welcome to listen to the link. I think I've emailed it out. So sometimes that helps, like if you're having a bad day dowsing, which happens, just play this recording and it clears everything. So I can send that link.
Thank you so much, Ty. I really appreciate everything you share.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I can send that link out again if you guys want.
It may not be a bad idea to share that again. We did have a board where people could share things, but that thing, it was based in Australia, and I think they shut it down. Been trying to find the right message board that people can share stuff, and if anybody has any ideas, not everybody's on Facebook. Facebook has its own dark connotations in certain ways, but if anybody has any suggestions on a message board app or something that we can use, I would appreciate it. If I had time to do that, I'd be doing something else. Anybody else want to chime in?
I just wanted to say, Chris, on the 30th of October, I was leaving my work, and I work near London Bridge. And I was just, as I set foot to London Bridge, I was thinking about my work. Suddenly I look up the sky and I see a round ship, really, really big. And I'm like, oh, that's a very round aeroplane. And then I look down and I look back up, like my brain started to catch up, like what's going on? And then it took a shape of an aeroplane, but very weird aeroplane. And then 2 seconds later, 2 black helicopters on top of it. They were just there. It was so weird that night, 30th of October.
Ty will tell you all about black helicopters and black SUVs. There's stories aplenty about that.
October was full of it. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I could write an essay.
All right. If anybody else, anything specific, if you think of something later on, please send me an email. Let's make sure everybody's up to speed on things. Anybody else?
Hey, Chris, I have a quick question. Regarding astrology, not something that I usually be following or anything, but for some reason lately, I've been looking into it, and one of the zodiac signs, Chiron, it's in everybody's birth chart, and it signifies areas of your life that's difficult, but something called Chiron wound came up.
Okay.
So just seeing if, do you ever put anything in your chart to do with astrology?
No, nothing like that. So when you come up with things like that, just share it with the group. Just write a quick email, blast it out to everyone, and share it with the group. Okay?
Okay. See if anyone gets hits with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah. So do with deep spiritual wounds and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, just share it with the group.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to call it. My wife's banging on the floor. Again, if anybody has any questions, want to give feedback. Yes?
Will we have this once a month or?
We're going to try do it more frequently. Yes, I know that I should be sharing this information more with people, but the last 4 or 5 months have just been a whirlwind of stuff coming in and leaving, coming in and leaving. And I felt that this connection with Azazel and this clearing was very important. I needed to share with people, and we needed to connect anyways. It's been a while, I know. But we are definitely going to try and do it. Again, TQH is part of Rise Multiversity. We're going to be doing certain videos and question and answers with that group. We're going to see about combining the two together to do things. So let's we're going to go forward with this and share more information and make sure people are doing this properly. Anybody else?
Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome. All right, we're going to end it right there. Again, any questions, concerns, feel free and share it with the group. That's why we're here. I love all of you. You have no idea how important this is to me for this to be working the way it is. And for new people that are coming in, I know that we're making an impact. I know that people are paying attention and realizing that this is a modality to pay attention to, because this does deal with all of the new stuff that's coming forward. And it really takes all the old stuff that was maybe demonic in certain ways and pushes it aside and lets us know the truth and the wisdom of what we need to know. All right, everybody, thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend. Love you all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Chris.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.